Welcome to my YouTube channel. Every coin has a history where history meets hidden fortune. Here I share real videos of rare and old coins, including pieces worth millions that can truly change a collector's life. If you love coin hunting, rare finds, and valuable treasures, this channel is your guide to the world of priceless coins. The 1985 Washington quarter dollar with the D Mint mark, struck at the Denver Mint, is a fascinating coin in U.S. numismatic history that continues to attract collectors around the world, especially when found in very fine VF condition or better, because this era represents a time before modern minting technologies fully eliminated striking imperfections, giving some coins unique character and collectible appeal. Designed originally by John Flanagan, the Washington quarter features the iconic left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse with the bold inscription, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust," while the reverse displays a powerful heraldic eagle with outstretched wings holding arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. And on the 1985 D issue, collectors often look closely for sharp rim detail, visible hair curls, clear eagle feathers, strong lettering, and original mint luster, all of which significantly increase desirability and value. Although millions were minted, high-grade survivors, exceptional very fine examples, error coins, off-center strikes, doubled dies, or coins with unique planchette flaws can command strong prices in today's market. And while standard circulated pieces are common, special examples have sold for hundreds of dollars, and in rare cases, nearly $2,000 when certified by major grading services, making this coin an exciting target for both beginner and advanced collectors. The 1985 D Washington quarter stands as a reminder that even modern-era coins can carry substantial historical importance and market value when condition, rarity, and unique features align, proving that valuable treasures may still be hiding in collections, old jars, or inherited coin holdings, waiting to be discovered by those who understand the story and significance behind America's everyday coinage. Building further on its importance, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with the D Mint mark represents a key transitional period in U.S. coinage when copper-nickel-clad quarters were heavily used in daily commerce, yet select examples managed to survive with impressive detail and eye appeal, making them highly sought after today. In very fine condition, collectors expect to see clear separation in Washington's hair above the ear, readable inscriptions without major wear, and a reverse where the eagle's wings, legs, and arrows remain identifiable, all of which help distinguish a true collectible from an ordinary circulated coin. And when such pieces also show original surfaces without harsh cleaning or damage, their desirability rises sharply in the numismatic marketplace. What truly drives excitement around the 1985 D quarter are top population-graded coins, scarce varieties, and dramatic mint errors, including die cracks, broad strikes, clipped planchettes, and doubled elements, which transform a common date quarter into a historically significant artifact. And auction records have shown that certified high-grade or unusual examples can achieve prices ranging from several $100s to nearly $2,000, depending on eye appeal, certification, and market demand at the time of sale. Collectors value this coin not only for its potential monetary return but also for its connection to American economic history during the mid-1980s, a period marked by heavy coin circulation and fewer preserved examples, making premium survivors increasingly rare. For anyone interested in coin collecting, the 1985 D Washington quarter serves as a powerful reminder that knowledge, careful inspection, and proper preservation can unlock hidden value, turning what appears to be a simple quarter into a meaningful piece of U.S. coin history with strong collector demand and long-term market potential. The Washington quarter dollar, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, holds a special place in American coin history, as it marked a shift from commemorative coinage to a permanent circulating design that honored the nation's first president. And by the time the 1985 Washington quarter was produced, The coin had already become one of the most recognized and widely used denominations in the United States. The 1985 issue, including the D Mint mark from the Denver Mint, was struck during a period of high circulation demand, reflecting the economic activity of the mid-1980s, when quarters were essential for everyday transactions such as vending machines, parking meters, and public transportation, resulting in heavy wear for most examples. Made from a copper-nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965, the coin features John Flanagan's classic portrait of Washington on the obverse, inspired by a bust sculpted by Jean-Antoine Houdin, while the reverse continues the long-standing heraldic eagle design symbolizing national strength, unity, and freedom. Historically, the significance of the 1985 Washington quarter lies not in low mintage but in survival and condition, as very few pieces escaped circulation with strong details intact, making very fine and higher-grade examples increasingly desirable among collectors today. This era also produced interesting mint characteristics and occasional striking anomalies that add further historical and numismatic interest, showing how mass production and die usage affected coin quality. Overall, the Washington quarter's long history, combined with its role in daily American life and its evolution through changing metals, minting technology, and economic periods, makes the 1985 quarter an important chapter in U.S. coinage history and a meaningful collectible that connects modern collectors to nearly a century of American monetary heritage. Continuing the story, the 1985 Washington quarter with the D Mint mark also reflects broader changes in U.S. minting practices and collector awareness during the late 20th century, a time when few people intentionally saved circulating coins, which is why well-preserved examples from this year are far scarcer today than their original production numbers suggest. Most quarters from 1985 entered heavy circulation immediately, suffering rim nicks, surface wear, and loss of detail, so coins that retain balanced wear, natural toning, and strong design elements in very fine or better condition now represent an important historical snapshot of careful preservation rather than rarity alone. From a numismatic perspective, this period is especially interesting because collectors today are rediscovering modern coins and identifying overlooked varieties, subtle die markers, and mint errors that were once ignored, adding fresh historical context and renewed market demand for coins like the 1985 D quarter. Its continued popularity is also tied to the enduring image of George Washington, whose presence on U.S. coinage symbolizes leadership, independence, and national identity, making the quarter more than just currency but a cultural artifact. As time passes, the historical relevance of the 1985 Washington quarter continues to grow, bridging the gap between classic silver issues of the early 20th century and the modern circulating coins of today, and for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, it stands as proof that even everyday money carries a story shaped by economics, technology, and the habits of the people who once used it. Looking deeper into its legacy, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar also represents how collector interest evolves over time, as coins once considered ordinary gradually gain historical and educational value simply by surviving the passage of years, and today this quarter helps tell the story of American life in the 1980s, a decade of economic change, technological growth, and expanding consumer culture where small denomination coins played a major role in everyday spending. The Denver Mint's production standards of that era, combined with long die use, created subtle variations in strike strength and surface texture that modern collectors study closely, turning the 1985 D quarter into a useful reference point for understanding minting quality and wear patterns of clad coinage. Historically, this coin also shows how scarcity is often created not at the moment of minting but through decades of circulation, loss, and damage, which is why clean, problem-free examples now stand out as meaningful survivors rather than simple change. As more collectors search rolls, collections, and estate holdings, the 1985 Washington quarter continues to gain recognition as a bridge between classic U.S. coin designs and the modern era, reinforcing the idea that numismatic history is not only about rare dates but about preservation, discovery, and the stories that common coins carry as they move from everyday use into the hands of collectors and historians. The 1987 Washington quarter dollar occupies a distinctive and highly important place in modern United States coin history, not because of precious metal content or dramatic design changes, but because of its unique production circumstances, collector demand, and long-term historical significance, making it one of the most discussed clad quarters of the late 20th century. Unlike most years, 1987 circulation strikes were produced only for mint sets, meaning no Washington quarters dated 1987 were officially released for general circulation, a decision made by the U.S. Mint due to reduced demand for coins during that period, which immediately set the 1987 quarter apart from surrounding dates and quietly created a modern scarcity that collectors would fully appreciate decades later. Struck at both the Philadelphia Mint No Mint mark and the Denver Mint D Mint mark, these quarters retain the classic John Flanagan portrait of George Washington on the obverse, featuring strong inscriptions of "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," while the reverse continues the long-running heraldic eagle design symbolizing American strength, vigilance, and unity, a design that had been in continuous use since 1932 and would soon be replaced in later decades by commemorative reverses. Composed of the standard copper-nickel clad layers introduced in 1965, the 1987 quarter reflects the mature stage of clad coinage technology, yet despite improved minting processes, the limited method of distribution meant that nearly all surviving examples remained in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition, preserved within original government packaging, which further enhanced their appeal to collectors seeking completeness in Washington quarter sets. Historically, the 1987 quarter represents a turning point in collector behavior, as it highlighted the importance of mint sets and demonstrated that modern coins could become valuable not through age alone, but through restricted availability and intentional preservation, reshaping how collectors approach contemporary U.S. coinage. Over time, high-grade examples, especially those with strong luster, sharp strikes, clean fields, and no-contact marks, have gained steady market value, and while typical mint state pieces command modest premiums, certified top population coins and exceptional specimens can reach prices in the hundreds of dollars, particularly when graded at the highest levels by major grading services, reinforcing the idea that condition rarity plays a critical role in modern numismatics. Beyond monetary value, the 1987 Washington quarter serves as a historical document of U.S. mint policy, economic conditions of the late 1980s, and the evolving relationship between everyday money and collectors, proving that even a familiar coin design can achieve lasting significance when production choices, distribution methods, and time converge, making the 1987 quarter not just a gap filler in a collection, but a meaningful symbol of how modern American coin history continues to unfold. Expanding even further, the 1987 Washington quarter dollar stands as a powerful example of how modern coinage can quietly transform into a key collectible through policy decisions rather than dramatic design or metal changes, and its story provides deep insight into the economic climate and minting philosophy of the United States during the late 1980s, when coin demand dropped sharply due to sufficient circulating supplies and changing consumer habits, prompting the U.S. Mint to limit production of certain denominations exclusively to collector products, a move that unintentionally created one of the most intriguing modern-era quarters. Because no 1987 quarters were released for everyday circulation, many Americans never encountered this coin-in-pocket change, which explains why it remains unfamiliar to the general public even today, yet highly recognizable and desirable among collectors striving to complete date and mint collections of Washington quarters. Both the Philadelphia and Denver mint versions share the same classic John Flanagan design, but careful collectors study subtle differences in strike quality, surface texture, and luster between the two mints, Using the 1987 issue as a benchmark for understanding how mint set production differed from circulation strikes in earlier and later years. From a historical perspective, the 1987 quarter also illustrates how preservation affects value. As nearly all surviving examples are technically uncirculated, yet only a small percentage display the exceptional eye appeal, sharpness, and clean surfaces required to achieve top-tier grades, making such pieces genuinely rare in a market sense. Over the decades, demand for the 1987 quarter has grown steadily as new collectors enter the hobby and recognize its unique status, and this sustained interest has pushed values upward, especially for coins professionally graded at the highest mint state levels, some of which have achieved impressive auction results in the hundreds of dollars, demonstrating that modern coins can compete with older issues when scarcity and condition align. Beyond pricing, the 1987 Washington quarter has become an educational cornerstone in numismatics, frequently cited as an example of how mintage numbers alone do not tell the full story of rarity, and how distribution methods, collector awareness, and long-term survival shape historical importance, ensuring that this coin remains a lasting symbol of modern U.S. coin history and a compelling reminder that even recent decades continue to produce coins with deep stories and enduring collector value. Adding another layer to its significance, the 1987 Washington quarter dollar also highlights the growing role of organized collecting and third-party grading in shaping modern numismatic history, as this was a period when professional certification services began to influence how collectors evaluated condition, rarity, and long-term value, and the 1987 quarter quickly became a favorite submission candidate because even small differences in surface quality, strike sharpness, and luster could separate an average mint set coin from a truly exceptional specimen. Historically, this issue demonstrates how modern scarcity is often defined at the highest levels of preservation rather than through absolute mintage. Since thousands of mint sets were saved, yet only a very limited number of quarters exhibit the flawless fields and strong design details required to achieve elite grades, giving those few pieces an outsized role in the market. The coin also serves as a bridge between traditional Washington quarters and the changes that would come decades later with state and commemorative designs, making the 1987 issue one of the last representatives of a long uninterrupted design era that stretched back to 1932. For historians and collectors alike, this quarter captures a moment when U.S. coinage was transitioning from purely functional money to widely collected cultural artifacts, and its continued demand reflects how modern collectors increasingly value context, story, and condition as much as age or metal content. As time goes on, the 1987 Washington quarter continues to gain recognition not simply as a missing date in circulation, but as a meaningful symbol of how economic policy, minting decisions, and collector behavior combine to shape the legacy and value of American coinage. Looking toward its lasting legacy, the 1987 Washington quarter dollar has become an enduring reference point for understanding how modern U.S. coins transition from contemporary objects into historical artifacts, as each passing decade increases the temporal distance between the coin and the era in which it was produced, adding depth and perspective to its story. Collectors today view the 1987 quarter not only as a product of limited distribution but as a reflection of changing attitudes toward saving, collecting, and preserving government-issued money during the late 20th century, when mint sets became more widely appreciated and intentionally protected from wear. Historically, this coin also illustrates how knowledge within the numismatic community evolves, as early collectors may not have fully recognized its importance, while later generations identified its unique status and elevated its place in Washington Quarter Series rankings. The continued interest in the 1987 quarter demonstrates how even subtle differences in production and availability can leave a lasting imprint on coin history, ensuring that this issue remains a key teaching example and a respected collectible that connects modern enthusiasts with the broader narrative of American monetary development.